On April 24, 2025, a concerning development in the South China Sea emerged, amplifying the already tense geopolitical situation in one of the world's most contested maritime regions. The Chinese Coast Guard, CCG, reportedly landed officers on Sandy Cay, a submerged reef within the Spratly Islands. According to Chinese state media, this action was part of an enforcement of maritime management and the exercise of sovereign jurisdiction over the area, despite the feature's disputed status. While the photographs released by Chinese authorities depict officers patrolling the sandbar and raising the Chinese flag, this action has significant repercussions for the ongoing territorial conflict between China and the Philippines. Sandy Cay, which lies approximately 480 kilometers from the Philippines' main islands and about 1,000 kilometers from China's shores, has long been a flashpoint in the South China Sea conflict. Although the reef is mostly submerged at high tide and lacks permanent vegetation or structures, its location is strategically vital. The reef sits less than 3 kilometers from Thitu Island, the Philippines' largest and most significant military outpost in the Spratly Islands. Thitu Island, or Pag-asa Island, is home to a population of around 200 to 300 Filipino civilians and hosts a permanent military presence, which includes airstrips, port facilities, and other infrastructure that strengthen the Philippines' claim to the region. The island serves not only as a key military installation, but also as a symbol of Filipino sovereignty in the South China Sea. The significance of Sandy Cay, lying so close to Thitu, cannot be overstated. In essence, the reef's capture or control by China would dramatically increase Beijing's proximity to this Filipino outpost, potentially cutting off the Philippines' access to critical territories within the Spratly archipelago. Moreover, Sandy Cay's location is notable due to its proximity to Subi Reef, another Chinese-occupied feature in the Spratlys, which is just 24 kilometers away. Subi Reef, unlike Sandy Cay, has been fortified by China with military infrastructure, further complicating the maritime dispute. Together, these features form part of China's broader strategy to assert control over almost the entire South China Sea, a body of water through which trillions of dollars in trade pass annually. The tensions surrounding Sandy Cay and the broader South China Sea dispute are not new. The Philippines, alongside other Southeast Asian nations, has long contested China's claims to nearly all of the South China Sea, based on the so-called Nine-Dash Line. This line, which Beijing claims grants it historical rights over the entire region, has been consistently challenged by the international community. In 2016, the Philippines won a landmark victory at the Permanent Court of Arbitration, PCA, in The Hague, which ruled that China's claims were inconsistent with international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. The ruling invalidated China's claims over most of the waters within the Nine-Dash Line, including those around Sandy Cay and other disputed features in the Spratlys. Despite this ruling, China has continued its assertive actions, including military fortifications on artificial islands, harassment of fishing vessels, and actions such as the recent landing on Sandy Cay. Chinese officials have defended these activities as necessary for maintaining sovereignty over what they claim as Chinese waters, citing historical records and environmental concerns. They have also accused the Philippines of contributing to environmental degradation in the region through activities such as dredging and fishing. These claims are seen by many as a strategy to justify China's territorial expansion, despite their lack of legal basis under international law. The Philippines has consistently pushed back against Chinese actions, both diplomatically and militarily. The Philippines has long maintained that its sovereignty over the Spratlys, particularly Thitu Island, is in accordance with international law and the 2016 PCA ruling. The landing of the Chinese Coast Guard on Sandy Cay is yet another provocation in a series of escalatory moves by China in the region. In response to China's aggression in January 2025, Philippine Bureau of Fisheries vessels were harassed by Chinese Coast Guard ships while conducting surveys in waters near Sandy Cay. The aggressive maneuvers by Chinese vessels and helicopters led to the Philippine ships being forced to abandon their survey mission. This latest incident further highlights the strategic importance of Thitu Island for the Philippines. The island is not only vital for maintaining the Philippines' physical presence in the Spratlys, but also for projecting its sovereignty claims over the surrounding waters. With the Philippine military working to enhance infrastructure on Thitu, including the expansion of port facilities capable of accommodating larger Philippine Coast Guard and Navy vessels, the country's commitment to defending its territorial interests in the South China Sea is clear. However, the Philippines' military capabilities are dwarfed by China's. Beijing's growing military presence in the South China Sea includes advanced airstrips, radar systems, anti-ship missiles, and even long-range bombers based on artificial islands. The situation places the Philippines in a difficult position, balancing between asserting its sovereignty and avoiding escalation with a much more powerful neighbor. The ongoing tensions in the South China Sea have broader regional implications, involving not only China and the Philippines, but also other Southeast Asian nations and global powers. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has consistently called for a peaceful resolution to the dispute, although its member states are divided on how to address China's assertive actions. While some ASEAN members, such as Vietnam and Malaysia, share similar concerns about China's growing maritime influence, others have been more cautious in their approach, often prioritizing economic ties with China.
And now, I fully authorize the most talented team to go and get it. Drill, baby, drill!
The United States, a longtime ally of the Philippines, has expressed strong support for Manila's sovereignty in the South China Sea. The U.S. has conducted freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, in the region, challenging China's extensive maritime claims. Under the Mutual Defense Treaty, MDT, the U.S. is committed to defending the Philippines in the event of an armed attack in the South China Sea, a provision that adds another layer of complexity to the situation. As China continues to assert its dominance in the region, the U.S. and its allies may increasingly find themselves drawn into a broader conflict over control of the South China Sea. The recent actions of the Chinese Coast Guard near Sandy Cay are just the latest chapter in the ongoing saga of maritime disputes in the South China Sea. As tensions rise, the question remains whether further escalation or diplomatic engagement will define the region's future. For the Philippines, the preservation of its sovereignty over Thitu Island and other features in the Spratlys is paramount. However, the Philippines must also navigate the delicate balance of resisting Chinese encroachment while maintaining stability in its relations with China and its allies. The international community, too, faces a critical moment in determining how to address China's maritime ambitions. The 2016 PCA ruling remains a powerful legal victory for the Philippines and other claimants in the region, but its implementation depends on global support for upholding international law. As the Philippines works to strengthen its defenses and secure its claims, the world watches closely, understanding that the outcome of this dispute could set a precedent for future maritime conflicts in the Indo-Pacific region. In conclusion, the landing of Chinese officers on Sandy Cay marks a significant escalation in the South China Sea dispute, with implications for regional security, international law, and the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. As the Philippines continues to assert its sovereignty and strengthen its military presence in the region, the road ahead remains uncertain. Whether through diplomacy, deterrence, or military force, the South China Sea will remain a flashpoint in global geopolitics for years to come. Thank you for tuning in to our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.